Does the color of the sky mean anything special to you? It does to me. A hell of a lot. When I close my eyes, the sky in my dreams is a deep, dark blue.
The Kingdom of Erusia has declared war on the Ocean Federation. I repeat.
Bogey approaching fast from the rear. Did the jailer know about the shitstorm he was sending us into?
Penal units are just pawns.
What's with this guy? That's an SU-30.
We don't want to mess with this guy.
All we can do is fly away as fast as we can.
So you simply watch things unfold from a distance.
Yeah. I mean, who would have ever thought that I'd just go and follow him straight into the enemy squadron like that?
He really is foolish, isn't he?
Yep, sure is.
Soul 1, what's your status?
Well, I'm feeling a little excited.
Trigger's taking the beast head on. I see the mark on his tail. You defile this country. As long as you're here, this country will never know peace.
Yet what is a nation?
I don't even have a country to call home.
I wonder which path you would choose when looking at Harlan's mirror.
Gargoyle 3 to battle. Ocean fighters do not attack. Shit, I mean, why are we being made to do this?
Yeah, I know. I'm heading into hell. Whatever. Adios, you damn fool.
Adjusting angle. Go! Aim for the one with 3 strikes. Thunderbolt, don't breathe.
Fire! Hit, damn it!
10 seconds until the united attack of the Arsenal bird. There are even rumors of penal units turning on their former allies.
Rumors. What kept the world relatively sane up to that point had been free-flowing data and information. But now, those were gone.
Everybody, give this attack everything you've got. Fire! What other choice do we have? I know. All aircraft, form up on trigger, nice and tight. Stick with trigger and you'll make it.
That's the aircraft my grandfather told me about.
There are pilots like you in every generation, and I've felled every last one of them.
Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Trigger, can you hear me? All survivors, respond.
Can anyone hear me? That aircraft needs to be taken care of.
Can you hear me? Pilot with the 3 strikes.
Hi guys, welcome back. It's your host Craig, and today we're going to be talking about Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. Before we get into talking about the main synopsis of the story and stuff like that, and our view on it, and just, you know, our 2 cents on the situation, we have some great news. The upcoming title in the Ace Combat franchise is going to be released on PS4 and Xbox One, January 17th, 2019 Japan, followed by the North American and European releases in January 18th, 2019. The game will also be released on Steam platforms on February 1st, 2019. And this game here actually has a sole VR optional support, I believe, at the moment with PlayStation VR. So you can expect some VR missions from us. So yeah, this is... I'm... Raz. I'm over the moon with this. Getting this information. I'm really looking forward to this. What's your thoughts on the situation? Yeah.
Well, it's something that we've been waiting for a very long time, since it was first announced. Was it last year it was released? Announced?
I think it was accidentally... Actually, here's a funny story. It was accidentally leaked in 2015 from Ace Combat Infinity. I think it was like found in like their code or something like that, or something like that. That's they were working on Ace Combat 7. I think it... Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. Yeah, I think it had a E3 last year. You know, E3 2017, maybe 2016 is when we actually heard something about it finally.
Yeah, we've been waiting a while, and there was a lot of scare that it was like being pushed back into like mid to late 2019. But I'm really glad that the release date is a lot closer than then.
It's literally after New Year's and Christmas, so that's awesome. Really, it's going to make a great time for us anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, looking at it now, like hearing about the single player campaign takes place in Strangrail, I believe I'm saying it right, in 2019.
Strange Rail.
Strange Rail?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, grand. In 2019.
Back to the game's roots.
Yes, exactly. So basically, we'll be playing as a character known as Trigger, who's an Ocean Air Defense Force pilot in the Lighthouse War. That's the giant the space elevator that was known as the Lighthouse War in the game's universe. Anyway, a lot of the game's cutscenes will follow the Erusian princess Rosa Delis. I'm not saying her name right. And, a bunch of other characters as well. Like, there's the idea that we're playing as a penal unit instead of being, official Ocean Air Defense Force pilots. It's kind of interesting as well. And so basically, we're being forced to fly.
The way I think it's going to work. Yeah, the way I think it's going to work is you and your team obviously used to be Air Force pilots, then obviously got arrested for something, you in particular, because you have 3 strikes on your tail. And as one of the in-game characters says, the more strikes you have, the more heinous the crime. So the way that I believe it's going to work is, in the act of all-out war, as will happen in the game, then I'm guessing that it'll be almost like a reserve unit being pulled into action, but not quite. If it's like a penal unit going into battle as well.
I see. Yeah, that's very true. Like the main character known as Trigger, later in the story, apparently he performs something, like, as you said, a crime that gets him sent to the OSEA penal unit, or I actually know the term that you're talking about. They're called the Spare Squadron. So, in the game as well, with this happening, public opinion in the game sway to Erusia's favor, since Erusia fights cleanly away from civilian areas while OSEA accidentally causes collateral damage. Something the Erusian princess, the Princess Delis, takes advantage of in in a lot of her propaganda pieces in the game. So with that in mind, I can imagine 3 strikes must be a collateral damage strikes then. Maybe accidentally got a lot of civilians killed while he was in the air fighting against Erusia.
I think he got those before he was fighting the war.
Yeah.
I think so. I think they were all incarcerated before the war. We'll see when the game comes out, but that's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I took a look at a lot of the gameplay footage, and it kind of makes me a bit happy. It's because it's one Ace Combat game I didn't play, which is Ace Combat 5, the Balkan War, or the Unsung War, I believe it's called, right? And
yeah. So in North America, it was released as the Unsung War. In the UK, or Europe rather, it was Squadron Leader.
Squadron Leader.
Kind of a weird thing. It's kind of a weird thing they have with naming their games. Europe is always named different to what the North American releases.
Yeah, so in Europe it was Ace Combat 0, the Balkan War, right? Yeah, that was it. I believe.
Just the Balkan War.
The Balkan War, yeah. I've noticed a lot of things as well. I used to keep on track with Ace Combat Infinity. Like, the HUD is apparently very reminiscent of, of Ace Combat Infinity, which I noticed that straight away because I used to watch a lot of gameplay footage of people playing it, and it's very similar in a way. So it's something that you can actually get into and will, help as well. Apparently, flares will be making a return for player control from Ace Combat 7 Assault Horizon. I wasn't a big fan of that game. I didn't really feel like I was flying that at all.
It was okay for what it was, but for an Ace Combat title, I kind of expected better.
Yeah, so did I. Gameplay and mechanics wise, which is going to be awesome, as we talked about there just a second ago, the flares, where you be able to control the flares and stuff like that, will be making a return. Clouds will be playing a major role as well in the gameplay. It's the first time in the franchise, yeah.
The weather.
Yeah, the weather will actually.
The weather as long as the enemy.
Yeah,
that's what I was with.
Yeah, it will. What's the word? It will interrupt instruments from tracking your enemy targets if they go into a cloud. So let's say units inside of a cloud, including yourself, will gain stealth but lose visibility. And you know. No, you go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. From what I've seen, that works both in your favor and against you. As you said there, you both like lose sight of each other in the clouds. Obviously, it becomes more dangerous to fly in it, but also that danger also increases for the enemy pilots as well.
Yeah, that's true as well. Like you have a big chance of like crashing into other aircraft and terrain. Actually, this is actually you're gonna love this a little bit. If you stay in the clouds for too long, you will also ice and stall. So if they stay, if you stay in the cloud cover for way too long than you need to, and in addition to clouds, direct lightning strikes will interfere with the player's flight controls and fire control systems and distort the HUD. So I think that like amount of detail they put into the the plane stalling because it's been iced over because how cold it is up there in the upper like 60,000 feet. And
I'm not too sure.
I'm not too sure either. You can tell us in the comment section, folks, if we got that bit wrong. But this is the first time I've seen it outside of a don't get me wrong, Ace Combat Assault Horizon was okay. It was a good game, but it's the referencing the post-stall maneuvers that you did with QuickTime events in Ace Combat Assault Horizon, which you actually have manual control over it now.
Yeah.
So it's not like a certain point or time in the game. You actually can do a post-stall maneuver and get behind your enemy as quick as possible, and then return to the dogfight and put it into your favor. This is like I think the mechanic replaces the automatic close range assault counter maneuvers from Assault Horizon, which was it automatically did it, as I was saying there.
Yeah.
I can imagine I know I definitely am going to be fighting you 1v1 in our chosen aircraft, which I will have to relearn how to fly. I would love to actually try fight in VR now, which is our next point in a second. Which is as me, I own a VR headset, which I'm definitely looking forward to playing this game in VR. Like, the player must use a cockpit view only. It's first person, and third person views are not available. The player must turn their head to look at an enemy and lock onto them, which at that point, you can fire missiles, apologies, tongue twister there, missiles as usual. And holding down the operation options button will actually calibrate the headset, so you can move the HUD element with you. So, on the elements, you have your radar, ammo, time limit, etc. So if you're able to go from the bottom of the screen and become, semi-transparent, the player can look down and see the entire cockpit, including the pilot's legs. The in-game pilot will interact with the plane's control sticks, despite the player, despite the player's use of the DualShock 4 controller. Which kind of sounds unfortunate in a way. I was hoping it'd be a bit more immersive, that where you would actually control the movements of the hands and stuff like that with the sounds of that. But, I'm looking forward to all the same. Those little bits, like, it's very highly... This is one thing I love about the Ace Combat series. It's so highly detailed. It's scary. And I know a lot of these games actually get help from the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, correct? I'm pretty sure I saw a lot of that in Ace Combat 6, where they had, mentioned the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force and a few.
Yeah, they do. They get a lot of technical support from them.
Yeah.
And expertise.
Yeah, that's good. That's one thing I really love about this game. They go to 110% to make it immersive as hell. But of course, the game is coming from Japan, and the funny thing is, it will have a very unique storyline. As we have a giant space elevator and whatnot.
The story I imagine is going to be typically Ace Combat.
It's
big, massive super weapons, convoluted kind of dogfights, all the things that we know and love about Ace Combat.
And cheesy one-liners. Don't forget the cheesy one-liners.
Oh yeah.
But in regards of we'll go back to the story for the moment. Apparently, prior to the game's events, the Ocean Federation constructed, the big space elevator, commonly referred to as the Lighthouse. This is why the war is called the Lighthouse War. The Ocean continent to help reconstruct efforts from something called the Ulysses 1994 XF04. I have that written down. And,
I did not know what that is. That was a meteor.
That's right. That struck. What country? It was right next to. I can remember the city, Grace Maria. It struck the Escavakians, I believe. Is that right?
Estevakia.
Yeah, Estevakia, and then Estevakia and Ace Combat 6 attacked Grace Maria is the name of the city.
Estemaria.
Estemaria, yeah, it's like a mix between Europe and America and stuff like that, which was the interesting
Ameria.
Ameria, that's it, Ameria.
Mm-hmm.
Apologies.
Yep.
It's been a long time since I played Ace Combat 6. So,
yeah,
like,
I've never played it.
It's a really good addition to it. It was so much fun to play online. And, as you know, like, tensions would, rise between these two countries. Like, you have the Kingdom of Rugia and then Osea. And, it's going to be interesting because, like, in the game's storyline in 2019, like, unmanned drones carried out an act of terrorism in Osea. And at the same time, Erusia captured the space elevator and its surrounding facilities. And Erusia also captured the large UAV carriers known as Arsenal birds. For me, it's not the first time I've gone against an Arsenal bird. Ace Combat 6 had Arsenal birds, are they were kind of like floating aircraft carriers. They were airplanes that carried airplanes and stuff like that. It's kind of like reminiscing towards like how the Boeing 747 was actually supposed to be originally like a flying aircraft carrier to drop F-16s into flight positions.
Yeah, I think I know what you're on about. They were
they're like
giant flying carriers. Yeah,
they're like a giant V-wing. They're like a giant V-wing.
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Yeah. And like
XBO, I think they called it in the Balkan War.
Yeah, I think that was. I've read a lot about the Ace Combat 5, but never got a chance to play it. But I went to Ace Combat 6 instead. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like overall, the story is looking more intricate as it goes along. I really want to discover what our guy did to get the 3 strikes on his wing, on his tail, basically. And also like. I'm just going to add this in here. I'm a big fan of Ace Combat 6. I'm a big fan of Grace Maria, liberating Grace Maria. I really hope you can get some... as you know, like you have different call signs throughout the Ace Combat series. Like in Ace Combat 6, you were Shamrock. Or one of them was called Shamrock. I can't remember the name character's call sign now. But that's one I always enjoyed. And of course, your name represents Razgriz. And they're from Razgrid Squadron.
Yeah, it's a throwback from Ace Combat 5.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the story's looking really good. Of course, we'll have to see it in, in action before it goes ahead. Hopefully, maybe there'll be a beta release before that, a public beta or a private beta, which we would love to take part in the private beta, by the way, if anyone's watching. I'm joking. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, this is something we're looking forward to quite a lot. And it's really gonna, like, we will be able to immerse ourselves into this, because, in other games, I'm not the greatest pilot, but I do like War Thunder and stuff like that. I'm somewhat of a decent pilot in that, and I love Ace Combat. So, I'm really looking forward to this. And you have no idea, folks. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this game. When I heard about it being leaked in, 2015, I've waited a few years for this game. So, I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's just pretty much it. I think we covered up the main story and stuff like that.
I think so.
Some of the mechanics as well. Let's end it with our favorite aircraft that we've had playing during Ace Combat. Raz, you can go first. You can tell me what your favorite ones are. At least, let's go for 2 each. 2 each, and we'll see what happens.
2 each. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I know there's a lot of good ones though.
Yeah. I can't really say all of them, can I?
No, you cannot.
Well, anyone that's a fan of Ace Combat 5 in general, plus my nickname will probably guess, but the F-14 signature aircraft of the Ghosts of Raspberries. And for my second one, definitely be the A-10.
The A-10. Yeah, the A-10 is pretty good. I loved that during Ace Combat 6. I brought that into a carrier fight by accident and won. So, in results of that right now, just the whole idea of it. My favorite two has to be the F-22 Raptor and the Su-57. Of course, I will throw out there honorable mention the F-14 Tomcat. Fantastic aircraft, but my favorite two are the F-22 Raptor and the Su-57. I really enjoyed playing those games. I was somewhat decent at flying them and getting into a fight, But yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, another honorable mention with the A10 as well, which was, you know, mainly because I love the sound of an A10's machine gun. It's just a beautiful noise. So yeah, folks, that's pretty much it. We covered everything. We hope you guys enjoy the trailer and stuff that's playing in the background and at the beginning and stuff like that. And yeah, we hope to see you next time on RTC. So Raz, thank you very much for joining us for this short video. And
No worries.
we'll see you next time on RTC. See you guys. Have a good one.
Bye.